What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Mr. Wonderful Meatball movie review. Today we are talking about the new horror film out starring Toni Collette called Hereditary. And right off the bat, I can say it. Believe the hype. They are calling this the scariest movie of the year, and you can believe that hype. This is a scary movie. This film is truly something that you just don't see much of anymore in a horror film. And if you don't know what this movie is about, the synopsis for this film is when Ellen, the matriarch of the Graham family, passes away, her daughter's family begins to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry. The more they discover, the more they find themselves trying to outrun the sinister fate they seem to have inherited. Ari Aster makes his feature debut writing and directing in this film, and this is just a nightmare. This film is, first of all, I want to get into the way that he directed it and the way that he works this, because he works the camera as if the camera is an unseen spirit within their house. The opening shot alone is something fantastic. Just the idea of the way that they zoom in very slowly and kind of pan into the, you've seen it in the trailer, the fact that they have the little miniature figurines, the way that he just shoots into that is very, it's a great open right then and there. And the film, throughout the course of it, this is a little over 2 hours, around the 2 hour mark, but you never feel strained and never feel slow because he does such a great job at building the pace of this film and building this film up. So it's a slow build, kind of like the horror films of old, classic horror films, like The Shining. The Shining takes its time and really builds the suspense and the tension. Rosemary's Baby, I think, is a better example of this, with the fact of how Rosemary's Baby is this very kind of slow building to the horror, but when you get to that terrifying moments, you are at those terrifying moments. And I think he does a fantastic job for a first-time feature film debut. This is definitely sets a standard and sets the peg very high for him. The editing as well for this film is fantastic. It's quick, it knows where it's taking you, and it gets you there at a very great pace. Not like a lot of horror films you see today, kind of jumping all over the place. And it doesn't edit in a way to give you a stupid jump scare as well. And that's another thing that really is great about this film, is that it's a horror movie. Well, let me say this as well. This is a movie that, while it is a horror movie, it is also a family drama at its core, with the idea of, you know, the Graham family, kind of the matriarch passing away and the unraveling of this family as they dive deeper into their heritage and kind of what their mother was into, or what their grandmother was into, what Toni Collette's mother was into and doing. Because she kind of tells you that, like, you know, she's a very secretive woman. She had secretive rituals she was a part of. We didn't really know much about it. And you get the feel of a contentious relationship there, and they further dive into this family drama and this family heritage. You know, again, it's Hereditary is the name of the film, but it's very much diving into all that stuff. So it is a family drama, but as much like, if this is the line that the family drama is going on, right there with it, this is the horror tale being told with it. So they're both right there, side by side. It's just slow moving in getting you to what eventually, I'd want to say it's like 40 minutes into the movie, eventually becomes one of the most visceral moments that I have ever had in a movie theater. I mean, this is, I cannot remember the last time I watched a horror movie and a sequence occurred to the point where I just sat up in my chair and felt everything on the inside of me turn, because it was just so, it really was. It was really, it'll question everything that you think you've seen, you think you know, And another thing that's really great about this as well, while that moment is not a great moment at all, and really will, I've seen people say that you'd want to walk out of the theater on this movie because of how just deep cutting it goes into your psyche. That's one of those moments where I had that feeling on the inside of, this is a lot. This is a lot. That moment was just, it's shocking. It is extremely shocking for a movie. It is extremely shocking to see, and it will hit your inner core at an extreme level. And it's just, I mean, that's the thing with this movie, is that it does things like that where it doesn't get you with a jump scare, but it gets you with a more traditional real life scare and a real life moment in a situation that is just so deep cutting that you can't help but feel the horror and the tension. And another thing that plays off of it really well in this film is, again, like I said, there's no real jump scares. There's like 2 jump scares in the film, but it's not like they intended for them to be jump scares. It's just the way that the story played out and the way that it was edited, it ends up being a jump scare. So it's not like The Ring, that just, we need jump scares to scare you. This is just part of the story being untold, and it happens to be a jump scare at this moment. But again, there are only 2 I can remember, and they both did make me jump. They both made me jump with the jump scares, but the tension in this film is where the horror truly comes from. If you saw The Witch, the family drama within The Witch, that's how this movie plays the same way. And Toni Collette is a big part of that, and I feel if she gets overlooked for an Oscar when Oscar season comes about, it's unfair and unjust, because she performs her heart out. And while she's already an amazing actress, this might be the role that finally gets her the recognition from everybody that she is a great actress, because the performance she puts on, watching her as she is this mother that is trying so hard to keep her family together, but is diving further and further into madness, while the entire family is diving further and further into madness as well. And she's trying to keep it all together, but cracking at every step of the way and every seam and everything possible. I got to give a big shout out as well. I mean, Gabriel Byrne is in this film, and he's already such a fine finesse actor to begin with that he obviously does a great job. But the kids, Alex Wolff plays a huge role in this movie and is amazing. Just a standout. So is Millie Shapiro, who plays their daughter in the movie. She is an absolute standout as well. So the acting from the 4 family members is just so spot on that as all these events are unfolding, you truly are feeling their pain, and you're feeling every moment of it. And the further into madness they go, you're right there with them, and it's more gut-wrenching and more heartache and just more, it is truly a horror movie like they don't make them. And I mean, that's really kind of how I can wrap this up, is by saying that this is a great movie. This is a fantastic movie. This is classic horror. The slow, very meticulous. It knows where it wants to take you, and it takes you there on such a journey that by the time you get to that moment that will just absolutely rattle you, you're not going to be able to look away, though. And you're going to be so engulfed in it that post that moment that then spawns a whole nother aspect of the movie, you'll just be there, hand in hand, following along. It will provide you with some imagery that will stick with you. I know after I saw it, my initial reaction was no loud noises or quick movements around me for the next 48 hours minimum. And I still stand by that, because some of the imagery in this film is, it's not so much on the gore aspect level of things, it's just in the, what they're giving to you at moments will stay with you. But another thing that's great about it is while they're giving you this imagery, this is a film that, again, jumping back to it plays like a classic horror movie. He's also very smart, Ari Aster, at knowing what to show you, when to show it to you, and then what not to show you. And that is something horror movies fail so hard at these days is that they feel the need to show you everything, when the truth of the matter is some of the scariest moments of this movie are the things you don't see, but you see up here, because your mind is a lot scarier than what anybody can put on a film for you. And this film knows that, takes advantage of that at a lot of opportunities for you, and really plays very well to that. But at the end of the day, this is a family drama that is a ghost story in the non-traditional way a ghost story is told, which helps it as well. But it is truly terrifying to watch this devastating movie about a family and its sudden, slow, but yet quick decline into just utter madness and insanity, all because of the family heritage that they are unfolding through the course of the movie that you're learning about. I do think that this is a movie that you should absolutely check out in theaters. I think that if you are planning on seeing any movie this weekend, not saying anything bad about the other ones, I plan on giving you an Ocean's 8 review a little bit later on, maybe this evening or some point this weekend. But and even against Hotel Artemis or the other films that are out, Adrift, which is a good movie, Upgrade, which I think is absolutely one you should see in theaters. But I think if you see any movie this weekend, it is absolutely this film. I think this should be your homework, because there's an ending to this movie that will leave you talking. That moment that I keep referencing, that is just truly heart-wrenching and just will cut deep into your psyche and core, that will have you talking. The imagery of this film will have you talking. The drama of this movie will have you talking. Like, this is a film that, if you don't see it, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about it that did see it, and you're going to go and you're going to wonder, why are they talking about it? But so I think that this is a film you should see. I give it 4.5 out of my 5 meatballs. It is hands down probably one of the scariest movies, if not the scariest movie you will see this year. And I know that that's a radical thing to say, because could do a whole other video on it. Maybe we will one day. We'll dive into it with some guest or something like that down the road, of what makes a horror movie, because I know it's subjective to, some people think that only a slasher film is horror. Other people think that psychological thrillers are the only form of horror. So what is a horror film? But I think this is truly a horror movie. I think that this plays on every one of your inner nerves the right way, shows you what you need to see, while also letting your imagination do the rest and fill in the rest for other things. And I can tell you that, again, I give it 4.5 out of the 5 meatballs. But I can also tell you that this is a movie that made every hair on my body stand up on more than one occasion. Brought me to absolute tears at one moment, and that is, again, thanks to Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, and the acting that was going on brought me to absolute tears. And I cannot remember at any moment in time when a horror film ever brought me to tears, but this one did. It is definitely a movie worth checking out. So there you have it. What did you think of this movie? Let's compare notes, because this is a film that you absolutely need to talk to people about and compare your notes with. So let me know on Twitter at @wonderful_radio. What did you think? Leave them in the comment section below. Go back, check out some of the movie reviews I did for some other stuff. Check out the midweek update as well from this past week that is on the YouTube page that you can subscribe to right now. The midweek update this week, we talked about what Star Wars actress left social media and why. Even dove into the roundup of some of the movies that are out this weekend as well, so you can hear what other critics were saying about these movies that are out as well, and other June releases. But outside of that, definitely check out Hereditary this weekend, and have fun at the movies. And try not to get too scared. Bye.